Moving on to the topic of the National Guard.
You know, I agree with Police Commissioner Tish in that we do not need the National Guard here in New York City. We do not need them for the purpose of safety, because if it was safety that President Trump was so concerned about, he would send them to the 8 out of 10 states that have the highest levels of crime in this country. But he won't, because they're all run by Republicans.
The National Guard he's not sending in the National Guard to do any real function. It's control, it's power. He's trying to say these Democrats don't know how to run these cities, and it's a political gesture by sending in the National Guard. I went through this with him. He sent the National Guard to 20 cities when I was governor. You know what city he didn't send them to? New York. Why? Because I said to him, don't you dare, we don't need it, and he backed down, and he will again.
So that proves a good relationship.
Wait a second. The president is going to back down to you, Andrew Cuomo. I know you think you're the toughest guy alive. But let me tell you something. You lost your own primary, right?
And finally, let's skip forward to one of the most important parts of the debate, the how do you pay for it part. Now, this mainly concerns Mamdani, since the other two aren't really offering anything to their voters. So first, how will you fund the free passes?
We will fund the revenue that would have otherwise been brought in from fares. And that's something that we would do in partnership with Albany. And I've put forward two proposals. The first is to raise taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers by 2%. That would raise $4 billion. The second is to raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, which would raise $5 billion.
We're going to move along, but I just want to point out to viewers that Governor Hochul has opposed raising the income tax.
What I say is free buses for working families who can't afford it, and free subways for working families. But don't subsidize rich people on a bus.
Rich people infamous for taking the bus.
Tell New Yorkers tonight how you're going to pay for all of this in 1 minute, if you can.
Look, a lot of people have called even my campaign a non-starter when we first began. And now I stand before you proud to be the Democratic nominee who got the most votes in city primary history. And I believe we will see the same thing with our push to ensure that we are taxing the wealthiest and the most profitable corporations the fair amount that they should pay. Now, there are those who will say that because it will be hard, you should give up.
Look, it's going to take more than the mayor to get these tax increases on corporations and the wealthy. But getting Zohran in as mayor at the least lets the rich fucks know that you're serious about this.